Theories about UFOs have changed over the years, but they've always sought to answer the question, just what are those things in the sky, and what do they want? The theories range from prosaic to completely esoteric in nature, and challenge some of our most fundamental beliefs in reality and our place in the universe. So, sit down, grab a drink, or something intoxicating, and let's get into the UFO theories iceberg. Natural phenomena. Natural phenomena has been one of the most single popular theories among UFO skeptics since at least the early 20th century. Basically, it says that UFO sightings are prosaic in nature and relies on known science to explain the sightings. Some notable instances of this theory being implemented are the Roswell crash of 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, Project Blue Book during the Cold War, and more recently, UFO skeptic Mick West's comments on the Go Fast and Gimbal videos released by the US Navy. The Roswell crash was first announced by the Roswell Army Airfield as a flying disc. One day later, this explanation was changed to a weather balloon by the War Department in Washington, D.C. Project Blue Book put forth the idea that UFOs spotted in Michigan were the result of swamp gas, something with which even Gerald Ford, yes, that Gerald Ford, who was the House Minority Leader at the time, did not agree with. Mick West, a retired computer programmer, believes that they're nothing more than infrared glares, human errors, and mathematical miscalculations. Also, an interesting, unrelated tidbit about Mick West is that he worked on some of the Tony Hawk games. I don't know, I thought that was interesting. Other natural explanations of UFOs have been ball lightning, radar errors, and planets. Military tech. Similar to the natural phenomena theory, military tech being an explanation for UFOs relies on current knowledge of physics and aerodynamics. The B-2 stealth bomber and the F-117 Nighthawk are two of the most popular aircraft supposedly mistaken for UFOs, but some of the maneuvers performed by unknown craft don't follow the laws of known physics. The military tech theory almost certainly accounts for some sightings, but some reports of UFOs describe objects moving at extreme speeds of sometimes 80,000 miles a second or more, and making 180-degree turns with no regard for inertia. The Phoenix Lights is a popular sighting that skeptics claim was simply a military test. They claim that it was just a series of flares dropped during a military exercise. Some claim it was A-10 Thunderbolt aircraft flying in formation. People have rejected this theory, including the many witnesses to the event. I also wanted to add in satellites in this category, as Starlink has been implicated in many reports of UFOs. These sightings can be easily corroborated by using a site such as findstarlink.com to track the locations of the satellites. Extraterrestrials. Probably the most popular theory on this list. Especially in the 20th century, the extraterrestrial theory posits that UFOs are piloted by beings from another planet. The Greys seem to be the species that show up the most in UFO lore, but some other species reported are Nordics, reptilians, and mantis beings. The idea that extraterrestrials could travel to Earth over vast distances was rejected by current science in the past, but modern scientific understandings of physics and the universe as a whole have changed this view, with many scientists stating that warp travel is or could be possible, and that we just need the right technology to do so. The 1941 Cape Girardeau, Missouri crash, the 1947 Roswell crash, and the 1948 Aztec UFO crash in Aztec, New Mexico are all said to be of extraterrestrial origin. Some reports of encounters with the actual beings allegedly piloting the craft claim that they are telepathic and they can speak to humans through telepathic processes. It's said that these beings could have been visiting our planet for thousands, maybe even millions of years. Another hypothesis is that they started observing us more closely after the development of the atomic bomb in 1945 by the United States. Reverse engineered craft. This theory is pretty much a mix of the extraterrestrial and military tech theories. It's also tied to the ancient human and time travel theories, which I'll cover later in the iceberg. It says that extraterrestrial or some sort of advanced craft are recovered by the military and poked and prodded by scientists until they figure out how the crafts work. They then use the technology, some say anti-grav or zero-point energy, to create more crafts. Bob Lazar, who's talked about his time at the S4 military base near Groom Lake, described recovered craft being used for experiments and studies on reverse engineering. Parts of the UFO community claim that these craft are crashed on purpose to, in a way, seed us with this advanced technology. Allegedly, technology taken from the Roswell crash was used to create fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuits, and even ways of preserving food. Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam was a theory proposed by Serge Monast, a Canadian investigative journalist that states that UFOs are projections by NASA created by powerful space-based lasers with the intent to persuade people to discard their current religious beliefs and follow a new world religion. It says that the population will be told by NASA and the United Nations that these projections are real and are evidence of the validity of the new religion. This new religion will be the catalyst for the complete control of the human race. Alleged physical evidence such as indentations, radiation, and possibly even actual debris challenge this theory's use of holograms being the sole origin of UFOs. But with the current laser technology, and even secret technology that could exist, I guess anything's possible. Ancient humans. Humans from an advanced ancient civilization are proposed to be the occupants of UFOs in this theory. They are said to have lived in the deep past, sometimes hundreds of thousands or millions of years before modern times. Part of the theory is that these ancient humans developed ancient technologies and are hiding somewhere us modern humans can't go, such as the bottom of the ocean or underground. This theory is actually backed up by some of the tales of human or human-looking beings encountered inside or just around UFO craft. In the encounter Travis Walton had in 1975, he describes a human entering the room he was in to calm him down after gray beings frightened him. In Temple, Oklahoma, 1966, an electrical engineer who worked at a nearby Air Force base encountered a torpedo-shaped craft that had landed in the road he was taking to work. Outside the craft, a human man looked like he was inspecting the craft, as if it had had some malfunction. The Temple, Oklahoma encounter sounds like it goes more with reverse engineering or military tech theories, but it's important to note that human pilots have been sighted in and around these craft. These ancient humans are said to have been wiped out by some type of natural or man-made disaster. But if they had this powerful tech, I don't see how they couldn't have saved themselves and their civilization. Maybe they chose to go into hiding for some unknown reason. Interdimensionals. The interdimensional UFO hypothesis was popularized in the 20th century by researchers like Jacques Vallée and John Keel. It says beings from other dimensions, whatever that may mean, are the pilots of these craft, or actually spiritual beings that can travel the universe at will. Stephen Greer is a big proponent of this theory, and believes that lots of these crafts are spiritual beings that can be contacted with only your thoughts. Jacques Vallée theorizes that many of our myths and fairy tales, such as gnomes, fairies, and jinn, are actually some sort of intelligence possibly from another dimension, masquerading as these beings as some sort of control mechanism. The beings in craft have been described as light beings or orbs, sort of phasing in and out of our reality, but they can also look like three-dimensional entities. The interdimensional theory seems to have overtaken the extraterrestrial hypothesis in recent years. The reason for this is most likely the fact that many UFO cases involve high strangeness and all-around bizarre happenings that can't really be explained by a simple extraterrestrial encounter. Another reason this theory resonates with many UFO researchers is the way UFOs seem to phase in and out of our reality, as though they're passing through dimensions. This hypothesis was even speculated to be part of the phenomenon by recent UFO whistleblower David Grush. Simulation theory. I'm sure most, if not all of you, have heard about this theory. The idea that we're living in a simulation, or series of simulations, has been a recent popular topic of discussion for philosophers, stoners, and ufologists. This theory was created in 2003 by Swedish philosopher Nick Bostrom. Bostrom has degrees in philosophy as well as computational neuroscience, both being relevant to this theory, which states that there's a good chance that our universe is some sort of simulation or a layering of multiple ones created by a civilization outside our perception. This civilization would be extremely technologically advanced and possibly omnipotent. The simulation could be an ancestor simulation run by these higher beings to study their history. UFOs could be part of this ancestor simulation and work as some sort of control system, much like what Jacques Vallée has stated. They could also be an experimental mechanism created to sway our civilization down a specific path. The way some UFO craft defy the laws of physics could be evidence of this theory, as they don't need to follow any fundamental law of nature, because they aren't part of nature, or at least the nature we know. We could assume that it would be easy to change or add anything on a whim, and UFOs might just be a kind of code added by the developers. Time-traveling humans. The time-traveling humans theory, or sometimes referred to as the extraterrestrial theory, has been popularized by Michael P. Masters, a biological anthropologist from Montana Technological University. It involves future humans who have invented time travel, using the technology to visit our time to run experiments, fix something in the timeline, or simply observe us out of interest. This one fits in with some of the other theories involving humans or human-looking entities. The Rendlesham Forest UFO encounter is said to follow this theory. United States Air Force personnel from the nearby Royal Air Force Station Woodbridge investigated the sighting of a bright light in the forest. Jim Peniston was one of these personnel, and he found a black triangle-shaped craft that was perched on the ground. Light beams extended from the bottom of the object to the ground, as if these lights were some sort of landing gear. Peniston touched the craft, and remembers it being smooth except for some glyphs or writing on the hull. He believes that it telepathically downloaded binary code into his brain. He recorded the code into a notebook. The code was later translated and read, "Exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance. Eyes of your eyes. Origin year 8100. This is a personal favorite UFO case of mine, and I think the translated code is one of the most interesting parts of this story. If what Peniston says is true, then it seems like this craft is from the future. Whether it's piloted by humans or non-human intelligence still isn't clear. Collective consciousness. I've come across a few bits of info on this theory, but I'm not sure if it's been talked about as much as the other ones. The theory is that humans are manifesting the UFOs through some kind of psychic means. Now, whether this is an amalgamation of all human consciousness somehow spawning UFOs, or whether they would be physical objects or some sort of conscious projection, who knows. This could also tie into Carl Jung's collective unconscious theory, which states that certain archetypes and traits that we see expressed through human behavior are inherent to the brain and the human genetic code. Maybe seeing weird things in the sky are intrinsic to the human experience and serve some purpose or have an explanation that we don't yet understand. This could tie into what Stephen Greer believes UFOs are and how some people claim to be able to summon them at will. I think all these theories are highly interesting, and depending on if you believe that UFOs are something worth investigating or not, some, if not all, could be the explanation of these objects in the sky that we've been searching for throughout history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, as it does help out the channel and the algorithm. As always, thanks for watching.